after we've gone through this MAGA nightmare and re-educating, basically, which that sounds like a rather a re-education camp.
Because at some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members, but something needs to happen.
Let's get it on!
Really important in moving forward and moving through this, even if we were to have a resounding blue wave come through, as many of us would like, putting it all back together again after we've gone through this MAGA nightmare and re-educating, basically, which that sounds like a rather a re-education camp. I don't think we really want to call it that. I'm sure we can find another way to phrase it. Anybody else care to talk about this?
That was Democrat Paula Collins talking about re-education camps after the MAGA nightmare. Collins is currently running against Elise Stefanik out of New York. Stefanik is the Republican representative in the 21st District of New York. After her tyrannical comments went viral, she attempted to add context to the situation, and her attempt at contextualization actually shows a larger point, which is their disdain for the average voter. So this is her quote where she was attempting to explain what she said. "We currently have lawmakers, including Representative Elise Stefanik, who misquote or misunderstand the law. Even if MAGA were to be resoundingly defeated, we would need to engage in widespread civics education, which both red and blue voters acknowledge has been slipping in recent years." What's interesting about this quote is that she's not really even denying the camp part of it. She is just saying that the average person does not understand the way the court jurisdiction works, and therefore people need to be re-educated or educated on the topic. On that one small point, I can agree with her. Civics education in America, in government schools specifically, is pretty awful. But the point she's trying to make is disregarding the actual reason most people have a problem with the Trump verdict and the prosecution in general. It's not whether they do or don't understand the jurisdiction issue. It's about the fact that we have a corrupt system being used to go after the political opponent of Democrats, progressives, leftists, whatever you want to call them. Whether it's a federal or a state prosecution, if you believe that the establishment does not work in a coordinated manner to take out their enemies, then I'm guessing you also believe that Joe Biden is the most popular president in American history, and the 2020 election is the most secure election in the history of the United States. Of course, this rhetoric coming from Collins is nothing new for the modern day left. On a similar note, Hillary Clinton said there needed to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members. The cult members that she's referring to are people that support and vote for Donald Trump.
We had very strong partisans in both parties in the past, and we had very bitter battles over all kinds of things, gun control and climate change and the economy and taxes. But there wasn't this little tail of extremism wagging the dog of the Republican Party as it is today. Mm-hmm. And sadly, so many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists, take their marching orders from Donald Trump, who has no credibility left by any measure. He's only in it for himself. He's now defending himself in civil actions and criminal actions.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system. But their presence is especially concerning because all of these emails were housed on unclassified personal servers, not even supported by full-time security staff. We do assess that hostile actors gained access to the private commercial email accounts of people with whom Secretary Clinton was in regular contact from her personal account. She also used her personal email extensively while outside the United States, including sending and receiving work-related emails in the territory of sophisticated adversaries.
And when do they break with him? Because at some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members.
How do you do that? Because you said you have to defeat them by defeating their leader. Their leader
Right.
is Donald Trump. Even you have said that you expect him to be the Republican nominee. How does this change at all?
At this point, I think, sadly, he will still likely be the nominee, and we have to defeat him. And we have to defeat those who are the election deniers, as we did in 2020 and 2022.
I think it's also critical to understand that, as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
Because for whatever reason, he and his very negative, nasty form of politics.
To replenish the
Such
Social
a
Security
nasty
Trust Fund by making sure that we
Resonates with them. Maybe they don't like migrants.
Roll tape.
Secure our borders with technology, personnel, physical barriers if necessary.
That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before.
We need to try to incentivize Mexico to do more, and we need to create the environment in which we get people out of the shadows and then give them some earned right to legalization.
We are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years.
If they've committed transgressions of whatever kind, they should be obviously deported.
We will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes.
Maybe they don't like gay people.
I believe that marriage is not just a bond, but a sacred bond between a man and a woman. I have had occasion in my life to defend marriage, to stand up for marriage, to believe in the hard work and challenge of marriage. So I take umbrage at anyone who might suggest that those of us who worry about amending the Constitution are less committed to the sanctity of marriage or to the fundamental bedrock principle that it exists between a man and a woman going back into the mists of history as one of the foundational institutions of history and humanity and civilization.
Or black people.
They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy.
Or the woman who got the promotion at work they didn't get. Whatever the reason, make America great again.
I believe that together we can make America great again.
It was a bid for nostalgia, to return to a place where, people could be in charge of their lives, feel empowered, say what they want, insult whoever came in their way.
Sign me up.
And that was really attractive to a significant portion of the Republican base. So it is like a cult. And somebody has to break break that momentum. And that's why I believe Joe Biden will defeat him. And hopefully then that will be the end.
How is this still happening?
It's the classic tale of an authoritarian